Tonight I'm cooking Channa Masala. I got a special request, so this one recipe is especially for Elliot Rebello. This is a kadai. You can take any pot with a thick bottom, add oil to it. Everything is roughly so much oil, so this should be just enough to fry the onions. Medium flame is always safer. I'm going to add to the oil cumin, and a few cloves. Maybe I'll put 5 or 7 or 10. When these look about done, I'm going to add onions. These are about 2 onions. I'm going to take roughly so much, just enough to kind of fit in that oil. About 1.5 onion. I'm making a lot of chana. I'm going to give my neighbors some. After about 3 minutes, I would be adding freshly ground ginger and garlic. But since my grocery supplies are already depleted, I've just returned from a trip. I'm going to add just some ginger I found in my refrigerator, ginger and dry garlic for a little bit of flavor. And the chanas can either be chanas in cans. I think garbanzo beans or these are better for students. I have boiled a batch of fresh chanas. These are dry dehydrated chickpeas that I soaked overnight and then cooked with. To every cup of chickpeas, I would say add at least 4 cups of water. So after soaking them overnight, I have washed them and cooked them with just salt. So I'm going to use fresh chickpeas. I boiled them in the pressure cooker, and I believe they were sitting in the cooker for about 20 plus minutes. There were 5 or 6 whistles, but as far as people go, I think just open a can, rinse it, and I would say make up to 3 cans, or get a big can if you're having a party, but don't bother using the fresh ones unless you have a pressure cooker and get into hardcore cooking. I'm going to add the ginger and garlic. At this stage, I would also add a few whole dried red peppers. They look beautiful floating around in chanas, but Priya has a sore throat, so I'm just going to leave out the spicy elements. But at this stage, some 4 or 5 whole red peppers, dried peppers, would look really nice. The next thing to go in is going to be tomatoes. I'm just going to use crushed tomatoes from a can. Ideally, the ginger, garlic and tomatoes would be fresh. Because I'm watching it, I'm going to increase the flame, otherwise it's safest to cook on a medium flame. When the onions start to become golden, that's when I'm going to add the tomatoes. That's half a can of crushed tomatoes. I'm cooking what would be about 4 or 5 garbanzo cans. That amount of channas are there in the pressure cooker. While the tomatoes are simmering, I'm going to add the spices. I will cook the channas with some salt, but I know that I'm going to need a little bit more. They can be cooked without turmeric, but turmeric is a very, very healthy spice, so I started putting more and more in my cooking. So that's about a teaspoon, a little short of a teaspoon. But everything is approximate, and it doesn't matter if you put a little bit more or less. I'm going to add some paprika. This stage I'm going to put the Channa Masala.
Where can you get that?
You can get these at Indian, Pakistani, Middle Eastern grocery stores. This is a Pakistani masala. I use different Channa masalas and each of them has a different flavor, so I get a unique taste every time. So just to, just for the purposes of variation, I like to change my Channa masalas. But National is a very good one. The recipe here calls for a little yogurt as well. I'm not going to add that because I have some lactose intolerant folk in the house. These are sweet peppers, nothing to panic, but I just like some peppers floating in my food. I usually just put as much as I feel like, and then I taste the food. If it seems underspiced, I add more. If it's overspiced, I can't do much. But I'm going to start with 2. Well, it's already 3 spoons of Channa Masala. This is a tadka. When you put onions, ginger, garlic and tomatoes, it's really ready when you kind of start seeing the oil. That's when you say a tadka is ready.
When it separates?
When it separates and you kind of see the oil along the side. That means the water content has evaporated.
So is it ready now?
Again, it's all subjective. It's almost done, but what's going to happen next is I'm going to add the channas and then I'm going to add more water. So it doesn't matter if I add the channas right now, it's okay. Because I'm not making a dry vegetable. I'm making channas with gravy. So I'm going to add the channas now. I'm going to give some to my neighbor.
Cool.
So I have a lot. We're essentially going to let this simmer for about anything from 5 to 15 minutes is good. If it gets too dry, add more water. If you want it more runny, I mean, water is, to taste again. Do you want it runny or do you want it to be of a thicker consistency? All that is your personal choice. This looks like it's going to be a pretty dense gravy. And I vary it. Sometimes I like dense and sometimes I like runny. Now I do not have cilantro, otherwise I would like to put a lot of cilantro. I'm going to cheat and put parsley. We do not put parsley in Indian cooking, but then I like green in my food.
Cool.
Yeah, so let it simmer and it should be ready, and you will need to check on it periodically to make sure it's not getting stuck to the sides. So run a ladle through it or a spatula or anything, just run it, and then you have to keep it on a medium flame so it doesn't start burning. Keep it on a medium flame and stir it periodically, and then you can eat it with rice or roti or paranta or bhatura or kulcha. And now we are done. It will be ready in 10 minutes.